to remember that nature is a power that cannot be ignored. Consuming even the mightiest empires and causing the greatest among us to tremble in her fury. Yet from adversity, the human spirit endures, finding ways to coexist with the earth. Or bend it to our cause. Pursuing a course beyond distant horizons and revealing paths both towards innovation and unintended catastrophe. Our survival necessitates new solutions to old problems. To ensure a future, both for ourselves and generations to come. United in purpose, we must now look beyond borders and welcome the dawn of the next era in human civilization.
Load this shit up.
The steady hum of machinery, the acrid smell of smoke, vision clouded by ash and soot. These are the signs of changing times. The lure of scientific and cultural advancement is the engine driving your realm forward. Now your challenge is to maintain the delicate balance between earth and man, between peace and war. And so it is upon your broad shoulders, Theodore Roosevelt, to charge forth and lead your people on their great adventure. Use your military might to give the peoples of your homeland the square deal they so desperately deserve. Surely, you will raise America into the limelight and attract visitors from across the oceans just to see your lands. Bully for you, Mr. President.
Oh.
Oh, the back is fucking on fire!
save you money. Get notified when other sellers have a better price.
Most of us in the Western world aren't as familiar with the history of other nations as we are with our own. For instance, the history of Japan is likely totally unknown to most people beyond their involvement in the Second World War, to anyone who hasn't gone out of their way to learn about it. That's a definite shame because Japanese history is full of some amazing events and customs. In the video today, we're looking at 10 of the most shocking. Number 10. Japan had a massive slave trade. The slave trade from Africa to America is well known to history, but less well told is the history of the Japanese slave trade. Word is that Japanese slaves were so common in Portugal and its territories that Portuguese slaves would have their own Japanese slaves as a kind of meta-awfulness. Slavery began in Japan as far back as the 3rd century, and it wasn't until 1590 when Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a politician known as the Great Unifier, abolished it outright. Even though slavery was outlawed at that time, women were still forced into sex slavery as comfort women with the consent of the government as late as the Second World War. In the early to mid-1500s, the slave trade between Portugal and Japan became so pervasive that even Portugal, which was trading the slaves from Japan, began to have second thoughts, and the king officially banned Japanese slaves by 1571. This was because they had brought so many slaves to Europe, particularly sex slaves, that the king feared it was putting people off converting to Catholicism and was bad for the country as a result. Number 9. Samurai engaged in crossroads killings. The word Tsujigiri means crossroads killings, and there is no conceivable way, even devoid of context, that it can mean anything good, right? This was a practice that was reportedly rare, but obviously one that happened often enough to merit a term to describe it, in which a samurai, in an effort to test the sharpness of their blade, would simply murder someone at a crossroads. In stark contrast to the image of the noble warrior, the samurai committing Tsujigiri wanted to know if their sword could kill a human with ease. Having a dull sword was considered a shameful act, so of course it needed to be sharp, and ideally sharp enough to kill an enemy with a single slice. If you could decapitate an enemy, or basically cleave them in two, all the better. But this practice was not used on enemies, just unlucky peasants. The samurai, with a new sword in hand, or with new training in how to use it, would kill the first random person they saw. The disgraceful act was banned during the Edo era, but of course it didn't fully stick. Some samurai would still perform the act as a means of making money, murdering travellers and stealing their belongings. It took extremely stiff punishments of shaming and execution to finally put an end to the practice.
I stumbled upon Dan through YouTube, which I'm sure a lot of you had seen his ads.
Dan kind of comes up, maybe in the advertisements, a bit silly and bored.
And like most people, I just skip. And then one day I just said, you know, let me just listen to this message, right? It kept coming up on YouTube. And anytime a message just keeps coming up, it's...
Yeah, shut the fuck up. I don't care about your shit.
In 1592, Japan began to wage a war against Korea that lasted for 6 long, brutal years. While any war likely includes acts of savagery that make a common person cringe, this war holds a special place in history for its grisly monuments. To this day in Japan, you can go and visit Mimizuka, a burial ground near Kyoto, erected as a tribute to these thousands upon thousands of noses and ears that are hidden within. You've probably seen the practice in movies before. Films like Full Metal Jacket included scenes in which soldiers are shown to have collected body parts from fallen enemies as trophies. Imagine that, only if every soldier is doing it, and that's what led to a place like Mimizuka. Amazingly, the habit of taking noses and ears was a compromise, as it had been more common to take whole heads previously. But the distance between Korea and Japan made taking heads a difficult task for practical reasons, so the ears and noses had to suffice. It's believed there are 38,000 remains in Mimizuka, but between 100,000 and 200,000 Koreans were killed and mutilated during the war. Soldiers may have even taken to killing peasants, including women and children, to gain more trophies for which they were rewarded. Number 7. Meat was illegal until 1872. Japanese cuisine, as we know it today, is not necessarily as meat-heavy as, say, Brazilian cuisine, but it's not strictly vegan either. That's just today. As it happens, prior to 1872, meat wasn't just uncommon on Japanese menus, it was illegal. And how long had this prohibition on meat been going on? Roughly 1,200 years. Japan abandoned meat in the 6th century when Buddhism got a foothold in the country, putting an end to the tradition of hunting venison and wild boar. The taboo against meat was so powerful that anyone caught eating beef was given 100 days of penance in the form of fasting. Buddhism holds as one of its beliefs the idea of reincarnation. Your ancestors could have been born again as those deer or cows that you're eating, and no one wanted to be a part of that. This was combined with the fact that meat had always been somewhat scarce, owing to the fact that Japan is an island and much more well suited to fishing rather than raising livestock. Fish were never considered a part of the ban. The emperor celebrated the new year in 1872 by eating beef, an act which greatly disturbed Buddhists, but was seen as a necessary step in opening Japan to the West and adopting new habits that would make the country competitive on a world stage. Number 6. The world's oldest company was Japanese. Shigemitsu Kongo was a man who knew how to build a temple. The renowned Korean builder had such a reputation that the Empress of Japan sent for him year 578 because she had a problem. Buddhism was taking hold in Japan, and the empire actively wanted this to happen, but they had no temples. Moreover, having never had temples, no one knew how to build them, but Kongo did. In 578, Kongo seized an opportunity and formed a construction company called Kongo Gumi. That company stayed in business for an absolutely staggering 1,428 years. In 2004, the company was still building temples. In 2006, the company was forced to shutter after nearly a millennium and a half in business due to unmanageable debt. Number 5.
Stop marinating your man meat with unholy ingredients that are harmful to your well-being, body, and spirit. Men love our soap because it makes their skin feel less like bad and more like this.
Sakoku was extreme isolation. If you were a world traveller between the years 1639 and 1853, the one place in the world you wouldn't get a chance to enjoy was Japan. It was during this 214-year period that Japan was engaging in something called Sakoku, a period of self-imposed isolation that was taken very seriously. There was some trade with other countries, but it was tightly regulated and limited. Foreign dignitaries visited on rare occasions, but the idea that a common Japanese citizen would leave the country was totally out of the question, and the penalty for doing so was death. Number 4. Old-timey robots. In modern times, Japan and robots go hands in giant metal hands. Voltron didn't grow in a vacuum after all. Turns out all the robots, both fictional and real, have a solid pedigree in the land of the rising sun. Robots date back far earlier than most people would guess. In the 17th century, robotic puppets known as karakuri were developed for use in both theatre and homes. One popular form of the tiny clockwork robots would be used to serve tea. Placed in the robot's hands would cause it to move forward in a straight line and stop when the pot was removed. It was a simple mechanism, to be sure, but it was popular in its time. Number 3. Blackened teeth were all the rage. Few things are more coveted in the world of personal hygiene these days than a pearly white smile. It wasn't always the sign of physical beauty that viewed as though, and in ancient Japan, counted their way to experience the polar opposite. Cultural beauty standards are probably not worth debating because they shift.
I don't ever use that shit, Pope.
Yeah, that's what I hung up. Was it Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah.
That's the one. How much is it a month?
Like $12 or something. Let's see.
It's $30 for the game.
Well, for the first part of the game, yeah.
Yeah. What's the rest of it?
Do they got the full? Do they got everything in that $30?
This is online complete.
Hold on a second.
It's like I put finally and then scrolled down, and it's the white. It says Final Fantasy 14 online, the complete edition. It includes base game and all expansions.
Cat, I'm gonna slap you. Yeah, you better fucking recognize, bitch. This page that I just sent to your Skype, at the very bottom, it'll tell you the monthly rates.
That's funny. That is your fucking bane on Earth.
And then Oh, do a little bit of research before you buy it. Just so you just look at it. See if you're going to like the game. Because this isn't a game you just buy and throw it to the side like I did. It's a waste of money. You're going to get it on PS4.
It says one player.
Well, yeah, but it's online, but it's multi. Yeah. There is no offline single player, I don't think.
No.
Final Fantasy 14 Online Complete Edition, $30.
Yep.
Let me look at that bitch real quick. Oh, Shadowbringer, Stormblood, Heaven's Sword, A Realm Reborn.
It's got all of it.
Yeah.
Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
See, it's like, it said $60, I think. It went on sale, I don't know when it went on sale, but...
Well, yeah, you might as well get it while it's on sale because it jumps back up. And if you have to buy it all separate, oh man, like I did, oh
it's
man.
like $200.
Let's see. Yeah, 3 major expansion packs: Heaven's Sword, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's for $30 fucking right now. It looks like. Fucking steal of a deal. $30 fucking for that. You know how much fucking money I paid for all that?
Yeah, I know.
That was.
That's what I said, about $200, $300 when you got into it already.
I wish I would have got that fucking deal. Like, god damn it. Fuck. But what did it matter? I'd have blew that money on fucking something stupid anyways. Bought another game I don't play, drank it, whatever, you know.
Something though.
Terrible. Yeah, and we're grounded over there. He wanted me to stay later. I was like, it was going on 5 o'clock. I was like, dude, I can't. I can barely walk. I need to go. And he's like, it's all right. It's not letting you go. Not letting you hard feelings, but no feelings, so.
How many weeks of temporary?
This will be 3. And then next week, I'll probably have 6 hours, but not quite as many.
You're going to have 35, 36.
Yeah.
So I have 1 day off. Well, no.
But then after that, it'll be next to nothing, but that's all right because I got classes.
Hey, Ash.
Yeah.
If you end up liking this game, you won't want another
Yeah,
game.
I like watching. I like watching it. Just my thing with it is you know what I'm saying? I just can't. I can't keep playing, every month with something. I don't like to do that. I just can't do it.
I was just going to say that if you like that game, you want to buy another game for a couple of years.
It is nationalism, which
Yeah, I mean, they're always putting new stuff in them, right?
Oh yeah, those aren't small expansions. Those are big fucking expansions. And dude, the time it'd take us to visit every zone in Destiny, visit every little area, we might be able to run across 2 of them out of hundreds of them on this game.
Oh, okay.
When I say this is a massive fucking game, dude, it is massive.
Yeah.
It is. It's a fucking doozy of a game, and there's so much shit you can do on it. Like, my fisherman's like level 52 now.
You're what?
My fisherman. I go out and fish.
That's all he does?
Yeah, well, that job is, all he does is just go out and fish. That's what he's meant for. But your single character can switch to any of the jobs that it needs to.
No.
So, like, I'll be out somewhere and be like, ooh, I haven't fished here yet. And I can just change into my fishing gear real quick, so it switches my job over, and then I get to town fishing.
Okay. There's different stuff in each spot that you try to get, or what?
Huh?
There's like different things, you know what I'm saying? Not bounties, but...
There is so many freaking quests. Like, here, I'm kind of curious. How many quests?
Just turn yours on.
Alright, main scenario has, the main scenario, 94. Alright, I'll turn mine on.
What are you doing now?
What?
What are you doing now?
I was on Civilization, but I can jump on there.
It's like, I don't know, the wife, we got like this. What's this? You know,